Could you, okay, shall I start over? Sorry. Okay, regarding student matter, this is the student matter report out from closed session. The board took action on a motion by trustee Grubbs and seconded by trustee, Dr. Moss, to approve staff recommendation of student suspended expulsion of student number 24-030 for the 24-25 school year by the following vote: 3 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent, 0 abstain. So we're going to move on from there. Let me go back. This is still not going on. Okay. This meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel. Will you guys join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the special board meeting agenda as written?
I actually have a question about that, and I don't know if this is the proper time to bring it up, but
Okay.
I know this is a special session,
Yes.
so with 24 hours of notice, right, that's what we got. It's my understanding that under the Brown Act, a special session has to be for emergency matters. And I was really surprised yesterday because I thought we were just going to be here for the construction contracts.
Mhm.
And I opened up my agenda and there were like 8 action items. And I myself did not have time because of work and other commitments to get through that. And in looking at the agenda, I do have concerns about one of the agenda items not having proper notice for the public
Okay.
about it being an actual emergency matter. And I'm not saying that it can't come up again at all.
Uh-huh.
My concern is that there wasn't sufficient notice provided. And I don't know if I can see the agenda. I can't, it's still not going on for me. Oh, thank you. Let's see here. So the agenda item I'm talking, it's an action item. The one I'm talking about is action item 3, which is, when you look at the title, it's really just a board resolution supporting LGBTQ plus and Pride Month. In itself, I think we all support that. However, if you read into the resolution, there's putting up a flag, and I think that requires a bigger discussion. We don't, to my knowledge, have a policy, and I have a lot of comments on the need to have a policy to ensure that we don't have a line drawing problem down the line. But mainly here, I'm concerned about a Brown Act issue in that the public isn't getting sufficient notice. Nobody's here to come out and speak on it. It's not in the title. It doesn't give anybody any notice. And if you just do a quick internet search, this issue is like all over the place right now. And so my concern is that if we move, it's going to look pretty strange, given that it's Friday at 11:30 during the summer, and we just haven't had notice.
Okay.
So I think we should pull that item for further discussion and analysis at a time when it can be properly noticed.
Okay. I just want to add in there, I mean, I hear what you're saying completely, and I guess we didn't give it too much forethought. It was basically to have it accepted and approved, if possible, during the month of Pride, the Pride Month. And so we thought that would be appropriate, but you're right, it should have a deeper discussion, I think. And I personally have no problem removing it from today's agenda and putting it on a future agenda, hopefully an early agenda of the school year, when it starts, to give everybody a sufficient notice, and because it's not emergency like you brought up, that we're covering all bases. So thank you for bringing that up. Does everybody else feel okay with that or not?
Yeah, no, I don't mind having it be a part of the greater discussion. I will say that I am in support of Pride Month, so I have no issues with that whatsoever. But I think that in terms of you bring up policy, I think definitely policy and everything, of course, has to be in place. With any of our decisions, I am open to having a discussion. I also, in that discussion, hope that we can include Juneteenth as well.
Yes.
I
Yes.
did attend the city of Benicia's. I think this was the third year that they've raised the flag for Juneteenth. So I was there. The mayor spoke and everything. So that was a good occasion. I would have been there for the Pride Month flag, but I didn't get proper notice to be able to get there because I would have been there for that as well. So. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't want the public to think that we're, trying to do anything quickly or whatever without discussion. Yeah, so I'm okay with having a greater discussion so that we can make sure at least the policies are in place so that moving forward that we can support as we need to. I do believe that the high school did some things around Pride Month, so I really appreciate that, giving students the opportunity to be able to participate because because students should have a safe space to be able to, express their views and things like that. So, yeah, so I'm okay if that's the case, and whatever we need to do.
Thank you. Any comments?
I agree with Gethsemane. So
Okay.
May I say something?
Yes.
I just wanted to refer to that Brown Act situation because my concern was what you're stating, but we did seek legal counsel and it was not a Brown Act violation. I just want to put that for the record.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Okay, so let's do this. Let's bring back that agenda item number 3 under action items. Let's pull it and let's ask to have it added to an agenda early on in the school year of 24-25, and also include with it the same discussion that we're having with Pride Month that we're going to also have with Juneteenth. So we can work with both of those at the same time. I do think we're all on the same page and we want this to happen, but I guess we were a little quick on the trigger here. So let us pull that item and move forward. That will bring both that back along with the Juneteenth.
And can I just make a request also? I think it would help our conversation if maybe we could start drafting a policy, right? So that we can make sure that we have kind of a plan in place and that we have content neutral parameters. Because I think we should, if we can get a policy done by then, I think that would just help the conversation.
what do you mean by content neutral?
What I mean by content neutral is anytime you have any form of expression, so speech or anything, there can become questions of when can a governmental agency allow certain speech and prohibit certain speech. So under the First Amendment. And we, as a district, we want to make sure that if we allow one voice to be heard, that we have all voices that are able to be heard and represented. And if that's not possible, so say, for example, down the line, we're asked to fly a flag for something that we don't want to fly or that we feel is divisive, we should have a policy in place that we can point to that says our policy is this, and maybe we link the state has a list of heritage months. And many months have many different celebrations in them, but maybe there's a way to draft a policy where we can point to the policy and say, this is our policy, and what you're asking doesn't fit in our policy. And I'm hoping CSBA has something that we can get, because it's not an easy thing, but I think it would just really help with put our ducks in a row.
That'd be great. And I know in the fall, we're going to talk about ethnic studies and some other equity and inclusion topics. So I think we can have a board study session where we can just have a deep conversation about this and making sure that we're on the same page.
I think it's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you both, and we'll be looking forward to seeing it on a future agenda.
And the agenda as amended.
Okay, so can I get a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
I'll move that we accept the agenda as amended.
May I get a second?
I'll second.
May I get, or Ms. Martinez, roll call, please?
President Zeta,
Yes.
Trustee Grebs, Trustee Moss, and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Comments from members of the public. All functions of the board meeting, including public comments, will take place in person. Members of the public who wish to speak prior to the board's consideration of an item on the posted special session agenda must fill out a speaker card located at the entrance of the boardroom. Each speaker is allocated a total of 3 minutes to address the board on any item on the posted special session agenda at the discretion of the board president. I do not see anybody here for public comment, so we're going to move on to item 8, approval of the consent calendar. Background information on these items provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes place without discussion on a roll call vote unless discussion of the item or items is requested by the board members. Can I get a motion to accept the consent calendar as written?
I'll move.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Ms. Martinez? Yes.
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 Okay, and I want to make a special announcement regarding gifts to the district that we've received. The Kiwanis Club of Benicia, for one book for every third grader, in each, let me reread this. To the Kiwanis Club of Benicia for one book for every third grader in each of our elementary schools to support all students reading at grade level by third grade with an estimated donor value of $3,000. So we thank the Kiwanis Club of Benicia very much for your donation to our students. And then also to Lynn Perry for her check as a general donation for Liberty High School. Again, we appreciate your thoughtfulness, and Liberty High School will appreciate it as well. So thank you. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to action items. So, consideration and possible approval of the purchase of the new modular TK classrooms for the placement at Joe Henderson's elementary school. Mrs. Egan, I'm like tongue twisted.
I want to start out by just thanking the board for being here today for this special meeting. We had, for this project, we got DSA approval on May 30th, and our first advertisement for bid was on June 2nd. We have requirements for duration of bids, so there's just no way that it could have been ready to bring to you on the 13th, but we were definitely feeling the need to try to take advantage of what we can get in this summer. There's just so much work to do, and then we're also really targeting work to continue throughout the school year, and specifically really targeting, there's like 4 weeks during the year where we have like 10 days for different occasions. So it's just important to try to start the work sooner than later, and I thank you for your time.
Can I ask you one quick question before you get into the meat of
Sure.
all those issues that we have here? Or not issues, but plans.
Thank you.
Anyway, so am I hearing that every year we're going to run into this, or can it be tabled to get these things done earlier so that the board doesn't have to come when we're not supposed to be here?
Yeah, we try to hit your normal board meetings. It's not always going to happen that we have to be here. I checked, like, historically, last time we had a special needs meeting was in fall of 2022, and I'm not sure if that was at the behest of the bond projects, because there was a lot on that agenda. There was a lot of union and other issues that were for that meeting. But so it's a rare occasion when, due to circumstances that might be beyond my control, that we have to come through this way. But it's not like it will always come through that way. It won't.
Because I think we did come in early last year, late, I mean, during summer last year to do this as well.
I might be wrong. Today I glanced the history and I didn't, the
Okay.
last special board meeting that I saw that we came in on
Okay.
was in 2022.
Okay.
But I certainly will do everything I can to avoid them, and it's not as though they
It's
will always be necessary.
greatly appreciated. Thank you,
Yes,
Roxanne.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're up.
Great. So the first thing that we have on here is for the purchase of a new TK building for Joe Henderson. So Joe Henderson, we have our new state mandates for TK additional classrooms. This was publicly bid. And so the building is 1,350 square feet, which is 1.5 times larger than your typical classrooms as required by the state, and also includes restrooms. Just to know, if the state reopens their grant application process, we will certainly be going after continued grant monies with our fingers crossed and continue pursuing all that as we can. The pricing that came in is comparable to bids that we've received prior and also is in line with their pre-negotiated piggyback pricing and our estimates. So the recommended motion is to award the contract for the new TK modular classroom building, and it includes the foundation to the low bidder, American Modular Systems Incorporated, in the amount of $700,800.
Okay, first, are there any questions?
I have a question, but I'm not sure where it belongs. It might be, it might be under number 2. So here's my question, and is the contractor, and this probably belongs on number 2, is the contractor for Joe Henderson, is that the same contractor that we've used for Mary Farmer?
No. Well, those both contractors, we had 2 bids come in for the site work. So you're talking about I think you're referring to site work. Mary Farmer modernization was site work, not buildings. But so this is a request for the buildings. It's for the building manufacturer. But number 2, we had 2 contractors that bid. It was J. Walt Construction and Bobo Construction. Bobo is the contractor who did the work at Mary Farmer. They were not the low bidder. So on item number 2, we're requesting that it be awarded to J. Walt. J. Walt, both of them have done work for the district, and we've been very pleased with their help. J. Walt did the work for the middle school seismic upgrades, which was a huge undertaking across 6 buildings. So, but we've had good experiences with both.
It was a substantial, no, go, please go.
I'll go after.
It was a substantial difference between the prices of the 2. And we don't see any line items in there to know how that's being spent. So how do we where was the
Difference.
difference?
So sometimes I looked through their subcontractors list. It was a substantial difference. I agree. I looked through their subcontractors list and to make sure that they included things. J. Walt's bid had 2 less subs listed, but I did call and talk to the owner and said, you don't have a fencing sub listed, you don't have a painting sub listed. Can you please confirm that you have them covered in your work? And he said that they do. The pricing from J. Walt is similar to the pricing that we had last year for the restroom and facility structures for the site work. So it seems that it is in line, and he felt very comfortable with his pricing. To just say why, sometimes somebody might be really busy and their price goes up. Sometimes people are, I don't know, whatever reason, might be conservative in their approach, but we do see some fluctuation. And I mean, that's why we hope to have, multiple bidders and get pricing to try to secure our understanding. The bids are always listed as lump sum. When we go to start construction, they have to provide, it's called a schedule of values, and that gives itemized breakdown in their work. We have not ever bid where we compare line to line. All their other subs listed between the 2 sheets, they had the same subs. So it's just those 2 that were different. And maybe Jay Walt is able to do stuff less expensive by covering stuff in-house instead of hiring an outside person. So between the history that we have with Jay Walt, and they've provided a very good service to us, along with matching the numbers of what the site work cost us last year for the other buildings, and then also in line with the engineer's estimate, I feel pretty comfortable to go with Jay Walt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was, what was the name of the or the contractor at Farmer? Was that
Bobo.
Bobo? So I'm wondering if they have fixed some of the problems that have come up. And was that under warranty or guarantee?
We are still finishing the punch list items there. So their work is, we're still addressing those. There's just a few. Is there something in particular that you're
That I'm hearing? There are a few. There are a few.
if feel free to shoot me an email if you want, if you want
Okay.
me to follow up with that. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
happy to.
will.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. You're welcome.
What's the connection between the first, the item 1 or I, I, 1 or 2? They're both Joe Henderson TK. So one was for $680 some odd $1,000, I believe, or $860,000, something like that. I don't have my information in front of me right now, and the other one was for $1 million, $2 million, whatever. It was much different price. How are those connected?
So the first one, the first action and contract we're asking you to award is for the building itself. So we are purchasing a modular building. They are built in Modesto or somewhere offsite, and then they're brought to the, so you have one contract that's the building purchase, and then you have a second contract that is for the site utility. So the second one is for we're going to expand the playground between the A wing and the E wing so that you have additional space, because you have to have more playground because you have another classroom. And then you've got sewer that has to go to the building. You've got electrical for the site work. You've got storm drain. By expanding the playground, we're pushing that walkway that goes around to the perimeter a little bit wider, so to allow space to expand the playground. So the site, and then you've got fire alarm and electrical. So the second bid for $1.2 million is for all of that site work that gets done in preparation. The first bid for $700,800 is for building the building off-site, and then they bring it, they build their foundation and set it on the site, and it connects to all of the utilities that the second contractor put in place.
Okay, and that's a normal amount of money for the. Oof.
Yeah, I know.
It's really expensive
It is.
for a building, and then I could build a house like with all the rooms.
It is so crazy. And I mean, that's why we bid them, to try to make sure that we're getting fair prices and to make our monies go as far as we can. And then we also apply for our matching state monies. I did go back and look at our master plan and budgets that are populated in there, and we're in line with what we had populated, just to share that out. So we're not, but so.
That's
And
good.
yeah, and then too, sometimes like we're master planning for Robert Semple, and we're talking about putting down a large number of buildings that are going to go out onto the fields area. But you get economy when you have more stuff together, because they're doing their utilities. The buildings probably aren't going to get less expensive, but your site work, you're doing a large amount at once, and so we will enjoy the economy of scale in some of those future projects.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Okay, so since this is an action item, can I get a motion to approve the purchase of the new modular TK classrooms for Joe Henderson?
I'll move.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Who's seconding?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
President Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Okay, second item, consideration and possible approval of the construction of supporting playground upgrades, ADA upgrades, stormwater, sewage, electrical, date infrastructure and building pad to support the new Joe Henderson TK classrooms. Well, here you said they're putting in the building pad, but just now realizing that you said the building pad's going to be put in, at least that's my understanding, the concrete slab. Is that different than the building pad?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the grading and preparation is done by the site contractor, and then the building contractor comes and does their trenching
Okay.
and yeah, they're different.
I just noticed that just
I know.
now. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay,
Question.
does anybody have any questions regarding this? No? All right, so can I get a motion, please?
I'll move that we approve the award of contract for the JHES TK classroom supporting site work upgrades to the low bidder J. Walt Construction.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs? Yes. Trustee Moss? And Trustee Maselli? Sorry, Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Okay, item number 3, we took out of this
Thank
agenda.
you.
And thank you. Next, we have the consideration ratification of tentative agreement for the 24-25 school year. Dr. Wright.
Right, we have great news. The district and BTA bargaining team met on the 13th, and we have a tentative agreement, very similar, well, not very similar, very consistent with what we agreed upon with CSEA and also management. So we've reached a tentative agreement, including a 1.07 increase to BTA member salary schedule, which would go into effect on July 1st, 2024. And that's the cost of living adjustment change. If the cost of living adjustment changes more than 0.5%, or when the state adopts the 24-25 state budget with a LCFF COLA that's less than 0.57% or more than 1.57%, then both parties will come back to the table and we'll renegotiate. The district's contribution to medical benefits premium shall increase to $95 per month, and that would be effective October 1, 2024. And in terms of AB 1200, the financial impact for the BTA salary increase will be $555,064. And again, this agreement is consistent with what we agreed upon with CSEA and management at our previous board meeting.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
No questions, but just a comment. I just want to thank BTA and the district for coming to a quick resolution in this year, especially with the turnover that we're having at the district. It's really commendable. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so can I get a motion, please?
Also moved.
Thank you. May I get a second? Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs? Trustee Moss?
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to move on to 5, consideration and approval of the amendment to the contract between the chief business official and Benicia Unified School District. Dr. Wright, you're up again.
Right, again, staff requests that the board approve the attached contract amendment. This will be the first amendment for our CBO, Truding Barrington, with a 1.07 salary increase for the 24-25 school year, effective July 1, 2024. And again, the same parameters. If the cost of living adjustment changes more than 0.5% when a state adopts a 24-25 budget, with the LCFF COLA that's less than 0.57% or more than 1.57%, then the parties will come back to the table and renegotiate. Again, the medical benefits premium is $95 per month, effective October 1st, 2024. And in terms of the AB 1200 financial impact, we shared that information at our previous board meeting because we included that into the management figures.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please? Or any questions?
So I'll make a recommend that we approve the contract for the chief business officer official as
Thank
I'll-
you.
the amendment, right?
Yeah. it's amended.
May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor. Roll call, please.
President Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you. We're moving on to item 6, consideration and approval of the amendment to the contract between assistant. Blah, these words are blending into each other. Contract between the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and the Benicia Unified School District, Dr. Wright.
Like a parrot. Here we go. Staff requests that the board approve the attached contract amendment number 1 for she's now Dr. Pat Andrew Jennings, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources for the Benicia Unified School District. It's a 1.07 salary increase for the 24-25 school year, effective July 1, 2024. And again, if the cost of living adjustment changes more than 0.5% and the state adopts the 24-25 budget with an LCFF COLA that's less than 0.57% or more than 1.57%, then both parties will come to the table and renegotiate. And the medical benefits premium, $95 and no cents per month, effective October 1st, 2024. And again, the AB 1200 financial impact was included in the information for management in a previous board meeting.
Did you say that the contract on 5 was beginning in July and then the contract on 6 begins on another month just now?
The medical benefits start in October. The contract starts on July 1st, but all medical benefits start October 1st.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract amendment number 1 as presented.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Ms. Martinez.
President Seda.
Yeah, yes.
Trustee Grubbs.
Yes.
Trustee Moss. And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Okay. Next up is 7, consideration and approval of the amendment to the contract between, we just did that, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Didn't we just do that?
No,
Did HR.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Contract between the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services to the Benicia Unified School District, Dr. Wright.
Okay, staff requests the board approve the attached contract amendment. This will be the second amendment for Dr. Leslie Beatson, our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. And again, we're proposing a 1.7% salary increase for the 24-25 school year, effective July 1st, 2024. And if the cost of living adjustment changes more than 0.5% and the state adopts the 24-25 budget with an LCFF COLA less than 0.57% or more than 1.57%, then the parties will come back to the table and renegotiate. The medical benefit contribution is $95 per month, effective October 1st, 2024. And again, the AB 1200 financial impact was shared at the previous board meeting in the management figures. I'm sorry, 1.07.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this? Seeing none, can we get a motion, please?
Also move.
Thank you. Second, please. Roll call, Ms. Martinez.
President Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs. Trustee Moss.
Yes.
Frog.
Hirsch. Yes.
All right. So the next one is number 8, consideration and approval of the amendment to the contract between the superintendent, Dr. Damon Wright, and the Benicia Unified School District. And it's basically the same information.
I can have Dr. Beatson read it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you, since we don't have all the papers.
Good day. So staff requests that the board approves the attached contract renewal amendment number 2 between Dr. Damon Wright and the Benicia Unified School District to extend the contract to the 2027-28 school year and move Dr. Wright's step increase to step 2 of the salary schedule, which includes a 1.07% salary increase for the 24-25 school year effective July 1, 2024. If the cost of living adjustment changes more than 0.5% and the state adopts the 24-25 state budget with an LCFF COLA that is less than 0.57% or more than 1.57%, then both parties shall meet to renegotiate. And again, in accordance with AB 1200, the financial impact, I think was talked about at the last board meeting, management classified impact.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Krebs, Trustee Moss, and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in if you're out there or if you watch later. And just let you know, our first regular session meeting of the 23-24 school year is going to be, it's really the 24-25. Okay, the 2024-25 school year is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Have a great summer. Thanks.